Hi, everyone. This is Joe Riggio. Welcome to Socially Joe. This is episode 37, where my guest today is Mary Harper. So, Mary Harper is someone who I was connected to by Lisa Frick with Infinite Wishes, and I have been honored to learn more about her and her business, but I don't want to give it all away. So, go ahead, Mary. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Mary Harper, and I'm the founder of Operation Shoebox USA. We're a nonprofit, a 501c3 that sends care packages over to our soldiers overseas that are deployed. We started Operation Shoebox back in 2003 when we had 5 kids deployed to Iraq at the same time. And then the following year we had 2 more go. So we're trying to support the troops in the best way we can, and that's how we came up with Operation Shoebox to help all the men and women that are deployed overseas.
That's great. I love it. So let's go into the questions now. Where was Operation Shoebox started, and why was it started?
Okay, Operation Shoebox was started in 2003 in an effort to support the troops when they were deployed overseas. It began when, like I said, we had 5 kids that were deployed over there at the same time, and we were going kind of crazy, so we were trying to find a way that we could support them, and keep our sanity at the same time, and that's how Operation Shoebox was born. We're based in Bellevue, Florida, and we pack out of our building up here 5 days a week, and we send on the average between 600 and 800 care packages a week.
That's awesome. So what are the needs that Operation Shoebox has?
Well, in order to keep going, we rely a lot on the communities out there to help us collect the items that we send over to the troops, and also to help pay the postage funds to get our care packages over there. A lot of people think that, because we're a nonprofit, we get a special deal through the post office to ship to the military, and that's not true. That's very far from the truth. We have to pay what everybody else has to pay to ship over there, so it's really important. It takes up probably about 52% of our budget goes to postage alone.
Wow, that's really amazing to know that, because I wouldn't have assumed that.
Yeah.
So then, what are most of the requested items that you always send over to the troops?
Okay, a lot of the items that the troops requested are the individually wrapped items like cookies, candy, beef jerky is a big thing, granola bars, breakfast bars, ramen noodles, baby wipes. Those are the type of items that we send on a weekly basis overseas.
Okay, now let me ask you this, because I just want to elaborate a little bit more. You said candy. Now, what type of candy are you sending over? Because obviously chocolate can melt in certain temperatures, for one.
Right. We send hard candy most of the year, but when we get cold over here, they're usually cold over there, so we will send chocolate. We've had troops say that they'll eat the chocolate even if it melts in the package, just to get chocolate sometimes. So we really do try to send chocolate during the winter months, so that way, they do get a little taste of chocolate over there. But mostly it is the hard, individually wrapped candy like Starburst, the little things that you see at Christmas time, the peppermint candies. We send a lot of candy like that. We also ship coffee over there because coffee is a big thing. The troops request that a lot, so we'll send boxes that have coffee, sugar, and creamer in it for the troops as
Nice. Well. Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to elaborate a little bit more, because obviously I've heard on the news that with COVID lockdown starting to happen again up north, a lot of toilet paper and all this other stuff is starting to go out of fashion again. And I know at the beginning of COVID, we got hit hard with a lot of things taken out of shelves. Did you guys get impacted in any way to not be able to send certain things over to the troops?
We were definitely impacted. We had to shut down just like everybody else did. So we went 6 weeks without sending any care packages. And that also hurt us because a lot of our donors were out of work as well. And we receive items from all around the country. So that basically came to an abrupt stop. And our troops, people wouldn't really think about this, but a lot of them were stop lost over there, meaning that they could not move because of the COVID. So groups that were supposed to be home in February were stopped, and they had to stay where they were. And one unit in particular, as soon as we started back up, was a unit out of Fort Stewart, Georgia, that requested 2,800 care packages because they were supposed to be home in February, and they won't be home till next month. So it has really affected the troops over there. And you can imagine if we have things that were stopped here, they have also things that were stopped there because they were not getting their shipments in like they were used to because everything was stopped. Nobody was doing anything. So, they went without their regular supplies as well.
Wow. We never expected COVID-19 to hit us like this, but it did.
Yeah.
And I'm just hoping that this next round that shutdown is not going to affect any of us, that we can still function a little bit.
We can hope.
Yeah, let's all cross our fingers. So anyway, let's move on. Do anyone or can you actually submit letters to the troops, or does anyone write to the troops?
We do request letters. If anybody, some people just don't have the money to support, to send in to help us send our care packages, but we really encourage people to write letters to the troops and send them to us, and we will put them in the care packages going over there because every care package that goes out from our facility has a handwritten letter in it. It's very important for the soldiers to get a handwritten letter from home. I mean, because anybody can type up a letter from a corporation and say, we thank you, but, here's your care package. And we want ours to, we want the troops to know that somebody actually sat down, took their time to sit and write, even if it's just a small note to the soldier to say thank you, that somebody actually did that for them. So we're always in need of handwritten letters. So anybody can send us, they can write 10, 15, 20, put them in a manila envelope and send them down to us, and we'll make sure that they get in care packages.
So let me ask you this, just to elaborate a little bit more. I would gladly do it, but have you approached any schools and asked the children to write letters as like a little thing to see if they do?
Yes, we do that. I mean, church groups, children, anybody can write a letter. And the troops really do love hearing from the kids. They really do enjoy that because, kids don't have filters and they say it like it is. So they get a kick out of the kids. So we encourage any group to sit down and write letters. We'll take them from anybody. And we just encourage that if kids are writing letters, to make sure that they have an adult with an email address, that they, use the adult's email address to respond back to the children. Like if it's a teacher, a classroom, the teacher puts her email and information there so that the person responding back is responding back to an adult and not a child.
Correct. And that sounds wonderful because just like that old show back in the day, kids say the darndest things.
Yes, they do. It's cute. You should see some of the things that they write.
Oh, I would love to see what they do. So where are the troops located that you send the packages to? Because I know you said one spot was in Georgia, I believe it was one of the forts.
Well, that's where one of the ones that were there. I mean, they're from all over the United States, but they're all over the world. So a lot of our care packages go to Iraq and Afghanistan. Even though, the troops have been pulled down there, we still have a few thousand in both areas. And they're all over the world. I mean, we've been sending care packages to groups in Poland, Korea, on the ships. I mean, we send to whoever sends us a request, we send care packages out. We don't discriminate against anybody. We send to all branches of the service. If they request a package from us, we send it.
Okay, that's awesome. So then let me ask you this. I know you said you're not biased or anything like that, but where do most of the requests come from? Do they come from like Afghanistan, Poland, or anything like that, more or less?
Well, over the last couple of years, the most requests we've gotten have been out of Afghanistan and Iraq, but certainly we get a lot from Korea too. And I didn't really understand why we got a lot of requests from Korea because they have an established base there. But my daughter was stationed over there, her and my son-in-law, and I found out that they don't get a lot of American food there. They can get it out of the PX, but it's, there's a lot of people in the area. So if you don't get in the PX, early when the shipments come in, then, you might miss out on some stuff. So therefore, they rely heavily on the Korean markets, and they, end up eating a lot of Korean food, which is not bad. My daughter actually loved it, but they miss that touch of home, that, the American food. And even if you have things that are produced in, say Europe, and they're stationed somewhere in Europe, they're using, the water from Europe. So everything has a different taste to it. Like even soda will taste different because the components are not what we get here in the United States. So a lot of them are just missing home, and, they get the snacks and the care packages, and, it reminds them of home. So they like it a lot.
Well, I could truly say that I tried, it's actually in Orlando. They have a Coca-Cola store there, and you could try Cokes from all over the world, and I tried them. And there is a different taste. I will say that.
Yeah.
and of course,
you've heard that.
Yeah, and of course you can go to McDonald's in whatever country you're in, it's never the same because they have a different menu item. It's okay.
It's really true. And, some of them are just, they're troops are very, they like testing out other things. They're traveling around the world and they're in different places. But when it comes right down to it, when you're raised up in one area, that's what you're used to, then, you do come to miss it. Most people do. So, that's why it's important for us to send our care packages over there. It's kind of a multifold reason. It's, one, to let them know people back here still haven't forgotten that they're deployed over in foreign countries and that they're still fighting for our freedoms, and that, we do still support them even 17 years down the road, 18 years down the road. We've been doing this it'll be 18 years in January. So it's been a long time, and I don't foresee ever, not having troops deployed around the world. And, we want them to know that we do care and that we still support them. And, some of them are away from their families for the first time. They get over there and they think, oh, Walmart or the PX is going to be right around the corner. And they get over there and they find out that's not the case. And they also find out that there's, thousands of other troops shopping from the same, truck that they're getting their stuff off of. And so they run out of stuff easy. So, we also send hygiene over there. We send the travel size shampoos and conditioners and toothbrushes and toothpaste, so that they have those items as well. So if they run out over there, because, when you're packing for a deployment, you're not thinking that, you're probably going to need, 4 or 5 tubes of toothpaste to last you your year deployment. And they don't have the room to pack that stuff. So when, people send it to them, it's really a gift to them. It really helps them out a lot.
Yeah, that's really good to know. So then my next question is, we talk about troop. So how many people have to be in to be considered a troop? How many is a troop?
It's really confusing to a lot of people. They'll go, troop? I can't adopt 300 troops, because we do have an adoption program where we allow people to adopt troops. And when we say troop, they think, oh, that's, 300 people. I can't do that. Well, because we service all the branches, there's 5 branches with the Coast Guard. So you can't, if you say to a Marine that, hey, soldier, they get offended. They're very nice about it, but a Marine is a Marine. And a soldier is a soldier. So in order to be able to do what we do, because we don't always know who's going to get our care packages, so we call them troops. So a troop is just one individual person. It's not 350 or 200 or even 50. A troop is one, and troops are multiple. So that's what people get confused on that, but you don't want to send a letter to a Marine and say, dear soldier, because Marines are Marines. I found that early on when I called a Marine.